I think our show has a very universal charm in the way it balances fan culture and religion and coming of age and action. So I really do think that we have a very wide audience, and ultimately the show is a love letter to the Marvel fans. So I hope the fandom is kind of comforted by Kamala as a character, and they're encouraged to continue just living in Fantasyland and exploring their passion, because the Marvel fandom is such a wonderful place to be, and it really makes you feel like you belong somewhere, as cheesy as it sounds. But it's true. It's comfort, right? These characters just mean the world to so many people, and this show is really just encouraging and appreciating the amount of work that it takes to be a fan, you know, analyzing trailers frame by frame, breaking down posters, making theory videos, being active on all the Reddit forums, and it's super important work, and it's a lot, you know, 34 projects in. So I'm excited for the fan reaction, and I think young people are definitely going to be able to relate to, you know, the coming of age undertone of it all, and just are kind of comforted by the fact that you don't have to have everything figured out at 16. You shouldn't have everything figured out at 16. You're 16. You should live your life, find passion, explore it, just, you know, hang out with friends, and life will kind of fall into place when it does. And obviously we're introducing an entirely new diaspora of fans into the MCU, so I think this is going to be a really accessible entry point for new fans who never really saw themselves in a positive light before, and it could be really intimidating joining the Marvel fandom, but there is space for more people, and this is a good place to start. It means a lot. I'm having the time of my life. Honestly, I'm just coming to work and being myself and playing around. It's the greatest job ever. I fell in love with the comic books, and I fell in love with Kamala, and the fact that, you know, she's not my little, you know, secret anymore is amazing, and I can finally talk about the show is just a weight off my shoulders. And I'm so excited for the world to finally see, you know, the reason I fell in love with those comics and the character. I honestly just, we all ended up living together in Atlanta, so if we weren't hanging out on set, we were definitely partying off set. And yeah, that camaraderie was just so wonderful, and everyone kind of just saw themselves in us and in our characters, because we just really, our entire cast put themselves into the characters they were playing, and just made it as authentic as possible, so we can really capture that coming of age and the high school experience, and how awkward and embarrassing it is to grow up, because all of us are super awkward and embarrassing. So it worked out perfectly. I think Kamala and I are pretty much the same person. Her getting her powers and me getting this part really went hand in hand, and I definitely went on a very similar journey of self-discovery with the character. You know, I definitely reconnected with my roots the way Kamala does by the end of episode 6, and she really uses culture and religion not as something that she neglects or is something that's dragging her down, but something that uplifts her. It motivates her, encourages her story, and I think it's so admirable the way, you know, she's just so unapologetically herself. That there's very little acting involved. It's really just me and reacting to how things I would normally react, really, and AvengerCon is the perfect example of all of that. I really just was having the time of my life. They didn't even let me see the set up until the day we shot it, because they were like, oh, whatever your reaction's going to be is what we want, you know, and I was like, okay, perfect. Also, just I get to be a nerd and represent other nerds, and that's just such an honor. And, yeah, it's really putting all my Marvel knowledge to a test, so. You know, film and TV really do shape how we see people in the real world, and, you know, you don't have the access to kind of travel everywhere and be exposed to this many people, which is why, you know, making content like this is so incredibly important, because you're exposing people to just new cultures and new ways of life that you normally wouldn't really see in your day-to-day bubble. And so I think it's just wonderful that a company as big and as successful as Marvel is creating space for a character like Kamala to kind of thrive and exist and take up space. And yeah, I'm just honestly excited to see what kind of projects this show inspires, because this definitely can't be the end of Muslim representation, because Miss Marvel cannot represent all 2 billion Muslims and South Asians in the world, but it's a start. And yeah, I'm excited that we can get that ball rolling. Adil and Bilal were a huge impact, a huge role in all of this. They really, made themselves so involved in my career starting off, and they really wanted to kind of see me succeed. And so right before we started filming, that month of prep, they would just be on phone calls with me asking, about my life, about my high school experience, about the types of guys I had crushes on, my favorite teachers, my favorite subjects. And so they used so much of me to create Kamala, and they really wanted me to be a collaborator on this, and they never made me feel like I was, inferior, and they just made me feel equal, and like I was really a part of this entire project. And the fact that they really respected my opinion and my voice just meant the world. And the same goes for Sharmeen, who just, incorporated so many incredible, beautiful, colorful cultural aspects into the episodes that she was given. Mira Menon is such an actress director. She really, kind of let us be on set and play around and act like how we normally would in these real life situations. And she gave us such an incredible amount of time for us as a cast to bond and really get to know each other and make those relationships as believable as possible, so that chemistry on screen is just so infectious when you see these characters. So yeah.